Cursor has a limit on how big your project can be because of the model's context size. Every day, people struggle with things not working or Cursor messing up their projects. I found something better. It's called Plandex, a command line coding agent built for large-scale projects. In this video, I'll show you how to install it, how it works, and what you can do with it. Let's get started. The special thing about Plandex is that it can handle up to 2 million tokens of context directly, which is a lot. It can also index directories with up to 20 million tokens or more. This is possible because it uses tree-sitter project maps, a relatively new feature in code editors that helps you navigate code better. Not only that, it uses multiple models through the OpenRouter API key and automatically picks the best one at any given time. This is why they say it's designed to be resilient for large code bases. Let's go ahead and see how to install it. Now let's talk about the installation options. If you're on Windows, you need WSL or it won't work. There are 3 ways to run it. First, you can use Plandex Cloud, where you don't need separate API keys. Everything runs in the cloud and you can get started quickly. The quick start guides are in the GitHub repo, and I'll link it below. Second, you can use Plandex Cloud with your own API keys. You bring your own keys but still use the cloud service. Third is the self-hosted local mode, where you run Plandex yourself with Docker and use your own API keys. In this demo, we'll be working with the local mode. Let's set it up locally. This is the local mode quick start guide. It's linked in the GitHub repo, and I'll also put it in the description below. First, you need to clone the GitHub repo and start the server. As you can see, I have pasted in the command, and now my server is running locally for Plandex. Before you paste this command, make sure Docker is installed, set up, and running. Otherwise, it will throw an error. The next command goes into a new terminal to install the Plandex CLI. You can see I entered the command, and now Plandex CLI is installed. It will attempt to use sudo during installation, so you'll need to enter your password as well. After that, in the same terminal, you'll sign in to Plandex. It will create a user for you because you're running it locally. Just copy and paste the command. After pasting, it will ask how you're using Plandex. Remember the 3 options I mentioned? We're selecting local mode. You'll see a host address. If you look back, the server command is running Plandex on a specific port, which shows up in the default option. Just press enter. It will create a user, sign you in, and now to start Plandex, you just use the Plandex command. It will spin up a REPL for you in the project directory you want to work in. Now you can see I'm in my desired directory and I want to initialize Plandex. Before you do that, you need to expose your OpenRouter API key and your OpenAI API key. That's what Plandex will use. After you have your API keys exposed, you can initialize Plandex in any repo you want using this command, or a shortened version as well. Both work the same way and will initialize Plandex. For more commands, you can check the instructions here. There are also other commands you can use, like setting the configuration and changing Plandex to auto mode. I'll explain what auto mode is in a moment. Right now, we're in chat mode. To enable tell mode, which starts writing code, we use this command. There is also a multi-line reading mode, but it is disabled for now. Plandex has actually provided a pretty detailed demo. I will demo it here myself, but let me show you how Plandex works through it. This is how Plandex works. You start in chat mode, and whatever you want to build, you tell it your ideas and brainstorm with it. Even if you don't know anything about the tech stack you're going to use, just flesh out your ideas. You don't need to have everything planned from the start. If you provide a ready-made project, Plandex can go through the files and figure out where everything should go thanks to the way it handles large context sizes. When you're ready to code, you can switch to tell mode. It will automatically ask you, and once enabled, it will start the implementation. Just like many newer tools, Plandex breaks down the main task into smaller steps, each focused on a single goal, and it works through them one by one. Another thing is that whatever changes or files Plandex creates happen inside a sandbox. After every tell mode session, you get a prompt where you can review the changes, apply them, or reject them. Both versions of the file stay separate until you approve the changes. This means you can test what you built first. Like Cursor, you can also run commands and set things up. Another feature is debugging. If any commands fail after you accept them, you can turn on full auto mode, which will try different fixes by itself. But be aware, full auto mode will use a lot of tokens and burn through your OpenRouter and API key credits, which can get expensive. I've opened a Swift app I made using Gemini 2.5 in a previous video and told Plandex that this is the project. It read everything, recognized that it's a macOS menu bar application built with Swift and Swift UI, and laid out the application overview, architecture, key components, and user flow. It now understands how the app works. Let's see if we can make some changes to the app. Here's the prompt I'm going with. I'm asking it to improve the UI for the Swift app, which is usually hard for AI models. If the implementation isn't done step by step, they struggle because they're not deeply trained on Swift and can't retain context well for the code. Let's see how it performs. You can see it reason through the project and is now asking to switch to tell mode. Let's do that. Now it's asking if we want to send another prompt or begin the implementation. Let's begin the implementation. You can see it built the plan and presented me with this menu. It didn't change the main files but created a new script to automatically build the app. I pressed A to apply the changes, and now it's asking if I want to execute. I said yes, and now it's executing. It will build the app, get the logs, and make changes based on that. This isn't a big error, but I want to show you something. If a command fails, it gives you a menu where you can choose to debug once or debug in full auto mode. That's what I'm going to use right now. You can see that another plan has been built, and now it's applying the changes. Once all the changes are done, I'll show you what it has made. The app was built, and I compiled it using Xcode. This is what it was able to build. I can now go into settings, click on the accent color, and adjust it to any color I want. It's using the built-in macOS and SwiftUI components, which is great. You can now change the accent color to anything, like making it blue. I made the original app in a previous video using Gemini 2.5, and that was the only model that could do it. This is probably why the tool succeeded, because it uses multiple models from OpenRouter. Everything works, and it looks pretty nice. That's it for this video. If you liked it, please consider subscribing. If you want us to keep making these videos, and since my wallet is running a bit empty, please consider donating using the link below. Thanks as always for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.